first guest tonight is an Academy Award-winning actor and filmmaker you know from films like Sling Blade, A Simple Plan, Bad Santa, Primary Colors, and Friday Night Lights, as well as shows such as Goliath and Fargo. He currently stars in Landman. Season 2 is streaming now on Paramount+. Let's take a look.
Well, God, you got anything else? Just dump it the down on me. Just give it to me, all right? Son of a... That was low, God. Dirty.
Please welcome back to the show our friend Billy Bob Thornton, everybody. Hello, my friend. How are you?
I'm good, man. How you doing?
I'm doing really well. I want to talk about Landman. Before we get to it, you're a football fan?
Yes.
Did
yes.
you're a Colts fan?
Yes, I'm a Colts fan. It was good for half of the season.
It was a really nice start to
Yeah.
things. You're shooting Landman near Odessa, Texas, which is where you shot the wonderful film Friday Night Lights.
Right.
I'm wondering, have you shot in any of the same locations? Have you run into people you met on that film?
Yeah, actually, yeah, we shot the first season of Landman. We mainly shoot around Fort Worth, in and around Fort Worth. But we were out in Odessa for a few days, and we actually shot a couple of scenes at the stadium where we did Friday Night Lights, and I kind of got a chill when I got there. But there were a lot of background actors, obviously, because it's a football game. And some of them would come up to me, like, you know, a 25-year-old guy come up to me and his sister or something and say, you know, our dad was an extra in Friday Night Lights and stuff. So it was like the next generation of background actors. And we were shooting on the 20-year anniversary of Friday Night Lights when we were out there, yeah.
You talk about getting chills. I think a lot of people got chills. That, you know, the halftime speech. You know, look, you've had a lot of iconic moments in film, but like that's really right up there as one of the more heart pounding. Did you know when you were shooting it? Or are you like, oh, this is a good one right here?
You kind of know, but you never know what the audience is going to think. I mean, even when you're in the middle of something you think is, when you think you're awesome, you know.
Yeah.
And then,
well, that is, I will say, yeah.
But no, I mean, usually you kind of have an idea that this might be special. And that particular monologue, I had just gone through a thing that was not easy to deal with. And I asked Pete Berg, the director, I said, look, do you care if I kind of go off the page a little on this one? And I did. So all that stuff about if you can look your teammate in the eye and be there 100% and tell them that, you know, that you're honest with them and that you're there for them, whether you win or lose, if you can look each other in the eye and know that you're there for each other, that was all stuff that I said from something that happened the day before.
That's unbelievable. And I would just say as well, usually when actors say I want to go off the page, it's a disaster. So it's different. You have a writing background, so it helps.
Well,
yeah.
Well, you know, it's funny because I worked with an actor years and years ago, back in the mid-'90s, and I talked to the director and I said, you know, I think this scene, it shouldn't be, I wait for your line, you wait for my line. It should be kind of messy, you know? And we did a take and this actor said to me, man, that was awesome. He goes, can we write that down? I said, well, that defeats the whole purpose. I said, that's the point, is you don't write it down. But anyway, he was a good actor. He just couldn't improvise.
You also have another film of yours I love, Primary Colors, directed by the late, great Mike Nichols.
Oh, yeah.
And I only crossed paths with Mike once, but it was everything I wanted it to be. How was working with him? I mean, it must have been something else.
Well, it's awesome. He was iconic.
Yeah.
And Elaine May, who was his partner, wrote the screenplay, and she was there all the time. And for the younger folk, they won't remember this, but it was even before my day, which is which is a long time ago. But they were, Mike Nichols and Elaine May were a comedy duo, and they were brilliant. So we got to actually witness it, right there in person every day. And the funny thing about Mike, if a director yells at somebody, it's kind of like, come on, don't yell. But it was a hell of a lot better than what Mike did, because it really just took you down to that. One day we were shooting a scene, and we wore suits mostly in the thing, and I was doing a big scene with Travolta and Kathy Bates and a bunch of people, and Emma Thompson. And somehow, when I was in the trailer, I forgot to put my tie on, and the wardrobe people didn't notice it either. And we're halfway through the scene, and it was going very well, swimmingly. And I guess the script supervisor must have said to Mike, he doesn't have his tie on and has to match this other scene. And all you hear from back in the darkness by the monitor, you hear Mike go, "Oh, come on." But
did you have a moment where you're like, oh, I hope that "oh, come on" wasn't about me?
Oh, it was.
Yeah. Landman, fantastic. Season 2, I mean, I feel like I could say, you end up out of a job. And I'm just wondering, have you, Billy Bob Thornton, have you ever been fired in real life?
I've quit more than I've been fired.
Gotcha.
But I'm trying to think back. I mean, I had some crummy jobs, over the years. When I first got out of high school, I worked at a machine shop running a drill press. My first job was hauling hay. Then I went to a sawmill. And I have to do this because it's just too funny to me to not do it. But you know what that is? That's a sawmill worker ordering 5 beers. Anyway, so...
I'm glad you got out. I'm glad you got out.
But yeah, I never really got fired.
Yeah.
But I did quit a few times just because I was a long-haired hippie kid who didn't want to work.
Yeah, well, there you go. I'm glad you found your way into something you enjoy doing. We had your co-star, Ali Larter, was here last week, and it turns out shooting Landman Not Without Risk, she was saying she did a scene with you where she had to get emotional, and it was easy because during the scene, fire ants were just biting her feet.
Yes.
And did you know about this, or did she share that with you?
Oh, she shares everything. There's not much that she doesn't tell me. Yeah, we were doing this very emotional scene. It's the last scene of the season.
Yeah.
And we're standing there at the fence out there, and the coyote comes up and all this, and she goes, "Babe, these fire ants are eating me alive." And I said, "Okay, well, I don't know what to do about it. I mean, you don't have any shoes on, so they just exist here."
Yeah.
So, I mean, I told one of the guys, one of the grips, I said, "Do you think you could get maybe a quarter apple box or something for her?" And it's like, "Well, no, because then she'll look like she's
tall?
6'3". Yeah. So
you just had to let the fire ants have their day.
yeah, no, I think it worked out okay for her.
She did say, but she had wonderful things to say about you, but she did say Sam Elliott, who joined the show, plays your father.
Yeah.
She said he's the most popular guy on set. What do you think about that?
She's in for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't care for that kind of talk?
It's really mean. She's my wife. No, Sam is the greatest.
Yeah.
I mean, when Sam comes around, everybody loves him. He's an icon, and we all love him so much. And I go back to the late '80s with Sam, so he's been a mentor and an inspiration to me for years and years and years. And we've worked together twice before this, but now I get to see him on a daily basis, and it thrills everybody that he's there.
I was told today that you guys had worked together in the wonderful film Tombstone, and I kind of forgot that you were in Tombstone because you look a great deal different.
Yes.
And you kind of get knocked around a little bit, and that's not the Billy Bob I'm used to seeing.
That's right. Yeah. Kurt Russell slapped the piss out of me. Yeah. And it's funny. That was if I ever see a picture of those days,
Yeah.
because this is back, when you're a younger actor, you're like, well, I'm going to gain 75 pounds for this, and the next time I'm going to do this and whatever. I'll cut my own cheek, that kind of thing. After a while, as you get older, you stop doing that stuff. But for Tombstone and U-Turn, a movie I did with Sean Penn years ago, I gained 60 pounds. And then I was in a movie called Pushing 10 about air traffic controllers. And it actually was about Newark, right down the road here. And I got down to 128. Like, for instance, now I weigh probably 143, 144. I weighed 128.
Wow.
So I stopped doing that.
Yeah.
Because it does not feel good.
No.
Yeah.
Not worth it.
No.
Also, we like the way you look right now. So.
Well, thank you very much.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
We're very happy with it. Also, your band, Boxmasters, is playing Stagecoach. Fantastic. Are you excited about that?
yeah, I am. Yeah, we've never played Stagecoach. And Stagecoach, I mean, we're a rock and roll band, but I mean, last tour we opened for The Who. So it's like,
Right.
The Stagecoach is known as a country festival, but now they're mixing it up. They're having rock and roll bands and country bands, and we play Stagecoach April 25th.
That's fantastic. Well, we're very happy you're keeping busy. It's always the best to see you, Billy.
Hey, you too,
Thank
buddy.
you, man.
Good to see you, buddy.
Billy Bob Thornton, everyone. Second season of Landman is streaming now on Paramount Plus. Stick around. We'll be right back with Heidi Gardner.